Welcome to the Fantasy Goons podcast, part of the Pucks Out family. It's time to skip the book and find out the info you need to win your league with Bobby, Davey, and Brandon.
Welcome in to the Fantasy Goons. I'm Bobby. He's Davey. He's Brandon.
Hey-o.
You can find us on Twitter at the Fantasy Goons. Now let's get you the info you need to be a champ. How are you guys this week?
Doing well. Welcome to the playoffs, boys. It's we're here.
I am not doing well. I had a horrendous week, fantasy-wise. I'm out pretty much everywhere, except for the 1 week that I had one league that I had a buy in. I was hyped about getting into getting the bye week in our Reddit Fantasy Hockey League. Thursday rolls around. I already had like 10 less games in old boy this week. Thursday rolls around. Your boy got a lot of Winnipeg fellas, and so I had like 6 postponed games, and so I did not do well. I'm playing for third place now.
Yeah.
So,
It's all right. I'm actually playing in the championship in one league right now. I'm actually demolishing them right now.
Big fancy over here.
That's my North Dakota league. So.
Brandon the championship.
I had in our Reddit league. I had an honorable showing. I mean, I made it. I didn't think I would made it, but Davey beat me. In the not in the Reddit league. The Peck of the Litter league.
Yeah. You were going for it. Davy's a strong opponent.
Yeah, I was just happy to be there, happy to be involved, and you know what?
He texted me a nice little statement too. He was like, "You did well. Go win that ship now, bro." Like,
arguably, if it weren't for your such a poor first 3 to 4 weeks, you would have had that second place spot. So
yeah.
If anything, I got like the Alex Smith comeback player of the year though. So I mean, I'm
you
happy
did
with it.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. You showed up and
then
came back and made it into the playoffs. So.
And then one of the leagues that I'm dominated in our regular high score league non-keeper. I'm just the postponements. Like he's got 74 games. I've got 52 this week, and I'm like trying to find guys to drop, but it's like I just can't. Like the difference is like not much is how like who I can drop and who I can pick up, right. And it's like I've got so many injuries, and at the same day, like
at this point,
and like the thing is, yesterday, it was a 400. Like he was projected to win by like 400 points. Now he's only projected to win by like 100 points, but I still have 20 less games. But honestly, league, and all it takes is to get like
high score.
I was second.
Yeah, regular.
You're playing me.
Oh, are you the 56 nothings?
He just beat me this past week.
So I mean, you're projected to win, but at the same time, like I'm so dominant in that league. All it takes is a couple of my guys to step up and get a bunch of hits.
Oh man, I was what do you mean? You were the only team more dominant than me, and Davey just came out and. I made it close right there at the end where it was like and then Sunday rolls around and it was just you know what I hate about that league, and you definitely have to change it, Bobby. Next day ads are not freaking helpful at all, dude. You cannot plan for anything.
You got to be so strategic and know who you got, and that's okay. But
everybody has to, but it just generally sucks.
So right now, I'm projected to get 1479. You're projected to get 1656.
We almost didn't even have playoffs.
No, something weird happened with this league because we had playoffs last year, and I didn't change any settings.
I'm confirming this is not a keeper league too, because
no, it is not.
Because you keep saying the keeper league to me. And I'm like,
we
it's
have
not
a
that
high score
one.
keeper league as well,
and I was worried because I got Pedersen on IR there. I'm like, well, I'm gonna hang on to him, I've
already mentioned that I want to expand that league to 8, so you'll be in it next season.
Okay,
so
I'm cool with that.
We'll do some sort of expansion-esque draft. So
sweet.
Hope everybody at home is doing well in their leagues. You know?
But all right, let's move into our weekly impressions. Listen, it's championship week, guys. It's time to buckle down, play the waiver wire. Do not rest on your laurels. Get out there. And
not all leagues are championship leagues.
Well,
next week maybe championship for some.
You're in the semi. You're in the semi championships.
We're in the. It's playoffs for sure. Everybody's definitely in playoffs this week.
Don't talk about playoffs.
Well, now's the time to talk about it.
We're talking about it. We got to talk about playoffs, buddy. I'm so sorry. Championship weeks. Time to buckle down. You said play the waiver wire. Great advice, Davey.
Postpone games. They're screwing with me, guys.
Yeah, that's going to cost me
throwing me off.
I really, I guess I ruined your weekly impressions because of mine.
But I mean, yeah.
I gave a real life example.
Well, pay attention to the team schedules because the league did some shifting and to accommodate the COVID teams, and it's messing me all up. You're seeing games where they have 3 games on there, and then it's like, oh wait, they're playing 1 tonight. Postpone. So you like pay attention. It's throwing me off a little bit, so I know it probably is some other folks
enjoying this beer. Make sure you pass that along, bro.
I will.
Yeah, it's good beer.
I'm enjoying it.
Weed Light Lager Sellers. You can say it on here because then they'll give you a post.
Boom. Weed Light Lagers.
We'll give them a shout out on the Insta and maybe the TikTok if they're a TikTok brewery.
Maybe
my weekly impressions. Obviously, the first point I wanted to make is like an actual weekly impression. There is a tight race for 4th in the Central right now, and it is at direct odds with everybody on this podcast. We almost didn't invite you tonight.
I know,
baby. That's how tight it is. Dallas is playing tons better right now. Nashville playing great as well. Like these two teams are playing. Oh my God. That game last night, bro.
Beautiful game.
How is that dude is like 5'1", dude. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that dude was going across the ice.
When I was prepping for our 3 stars of the week, I was looking at goalie stats and I was like, oh, well, Juice, I was like his numbers aren't great. But when you look at his number of saves over the last 7 days, he's got like 90, 100 saves compared to everyone else above him on like the list are like in the 30s and the 20s because
so it really depends on your league settings.
He's playing
at this point.
So much and they're lean. And listen, we have said for almost a year and a half now on both shows, is Juice the future of that team? He's
mostly landing on no, but if you keep playing like this, bro, I mean, you might not be.
They have a game starting soon. We record on Tuesdays. They're second to back-to-back. I would assume Pekka gets the start tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like this isn't even a question of if you're the future of the Preds. Like, are you the future Vezina winner of the NHL if you keep playing like the way he's been playing? So I'm very impressed. But to take my weekly impressions, kind of like Bobby did for fantasy wise, don't forget non-keeper leagues. Moving to the next round is the goal, right? So don't keep someone around for next week. If you need a win, get rid of whoever. I mean, there are very few players that I would say I cannot, just in case next week happens. Very, very few at this point.
And that was one of my biggest things. Like, Alex Ovechkin in our high score league is a dominant because he does everything and he's on IR. And I'm like,
I'm keeping him on IR so nobody else can get him.
He can't get on IR because he's just and for some reason, like I've got an IR.
You only have one IR plus spot,
and
on
I can't. And Reeves doesn't drop till tomorrow.
Who do we blame that on? You are the leader of this league. This is your fault, Bobby. Yeah. This is your fault. But yeah, just don't forget, if it's not a keeper league, if you drop somebody and they are able to get him for the championship or whatever, doesn't matter if you're playing for 3rd place or you're playing for 5th place next week. So drop them if you need the spot for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's move into our pickups. Phil Kessel, 40% rostered. It's wild, bro. It's 2021, and I've got Phil Kessel on our weekly pickups. The fact is, he always performs better with 2 things: when he's under stress and if it's for a hot dog. And you best believe both of those things are happening right now. So listen, if Phil Kessel's there, he is a solid veteran who will get you some points. If you've got a lot of injuries, some postmans, go get you some Phil Kessel.
Power play point opportunities. I mean, I agree that he's checking a lot of boxes come playoff time. I'm not hating on the pick at all. I have a rarity for me when it comes to pickups. I generally try to give you a multi-positional eligibility. I went with the D-man this week, Brian Dumoulin, on the Penguins. 9% rostered. Penguins are 25-1 since his return on March 5th. Paired with Letang, decent across all categories. He's going to get you shots on goal. He's going to give you some points opportunities, hits, blocks. The biggest thing is no power play point. You're not going to get any power play points from Dumoulin, or at least he hasn't shown that he can get power play points over the past few weeks. which, if you need some power play points, if that's the spot that you need, I'm probably not going that way. But 4 games this week. And I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit more about those games a little later, so I'm not going to spoil my own spoilers. So, I'm going Dumoulin if you need a D-man. Obviously, that's not going to be for everyone, but it's going to be a good opportunity to stream someone in if you need a D-man that's going to give you a multi-cat opportunity.
Dennis Gurianov for the Dallas Stars. I like seeing him available. It's crunch time for Big D, and I expect Dennis Gurianov to be a big part of the Stars this week. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Big D, man. With 4 games, 1 against the Panthers, 2 against Tampa, 1 against the Hawks this week. He's 27% rostered. He's going to hit multiple categories. He's got 11 goals, 16 assists, 8 power play points, 54 hits, 18 blocks. He's been playing second line with Jamie Benn, centering and Jason Dickinson on left wing. It's been changing from time to time, but he also plays second power play unit, and he's on the point there, and he's got a wicked shot. So Dennis Gurianov, he is a good little streamer, and I would highly recommend you pick him up, especially with the 4 games.
Positional eligibility, what is he?
He's got 2 eligibility. I forget exactly what they are. I think it's left wing, right wing.
Center. But okay, yeah. So double wing and Phil Kessel right wing eligibility. Bob, is that correct?
I think so.
And I mean, we gave you a D-man option there. So, so some good options for you guys at home.
All right, moving into our stream of the week. Listen, the Preds have been great as of late, and no one better than probably on their team, Ellie Tolvanin. Since he's come back from injury, he has just been absolutely lighting it up. 1 goal, 1 assist, and 3 shots in 2 games since coming back from injury. He has amassed 8 goals and 17 points in his past 19 appearances. Right. Tolvi has the second most power play points on the team with 11. He's available in many,
which is amazing. And also, can we say that this isn't the Preds power play of the past few years?
Yeah,
power play is looking strong.
Yeah, they went from like 32 to like 29.
I think of the 2. Well, I mean, but just last night they had a power play where they're trying to lock in the game.
Yeah,
they held that puck for I think a minute 50 of the 2 minutes.
Florida,
that are available. That's unheard of.
Florida scored first on a power play, and then they answered with their own power play goal, which is unheard of for the Preds. Yeah. Usually, power play for the Preds is when you go to the bathroom.
I mean, over the past few years, I mean, if there's been the weak point in the Predators, it's been the power play. So to see it operating like other teams' power play, like, wow, they look good on the power play. That's amazing to me. And I totally agree. Getting a good option on the Preds power play right now is a good opportunity. Yeah. I love the pick.
All right, Davey, hit us with your stream of the week.
I've got the Islanders with 4 games this week, 2 against the Sabres and 2 against the Devils. It's an easier week for them, but they still have a lot to play for and try to snatch the first or second spot in the East. So I feel like there's a little bit of pressure riding on them, but I like this week for them. I think it's an easy week just in time. So Boston sneaking up, so they'll need to perform well. But there's an option. Brock Nelson's available, and he's 35% rostered. 16 goals, 10 assists, 297 faceoffs, 32 hits, 21 blocks. Category guy.
Yeah, I was about to say cat monster. I mean, dude.
He's perfect for that. If you need
center
somebody
left
to
wing
grab,
still,
yes,
as he has been over the past few years. Yeah, Brock Nelson is going to be a widely available guy that is not loved enough in fantasy, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Love the suggestion. Love the pick of the Islanders. I am actually going to go with the top team in the East right now. The Penguins.
Currently top team.
Currently.
Changing all the time.
But I mean, currently is all we're talking about when you talk about the top team, right?
We record almost a week before it releases.
Sure. So, but again, I'm not like, as great as I am, I am not a future predictor. I cannot tell you if it will still be the top team, but they are looking good. I mean, 25-1 in the past few games. My pick was from the Penguins. 4 games this week, Monday and Tuesday against the Flyers, Thursday and Saturday against the Sabres. You know they're going to show up to play against the Flyers as they always do, whether they're playing well or they're playing poorly. The Sabres, I don't know if you guys were listening a couple weeks ago, but they're bad. They're not good. They're bad. And so and it's the best part about this is that, you go and find you Brian Dumoulin or another Penguins player. Sunday's still open. You can drop one of those guys that you went and picked up for 4 games that week and have some Sunday opportunities.
Brian Russ is always a sneaky guy too.
Brian Russ is a sneaky. I mean, the great thing about the Penguins is that they could take a 4th liner and throw him up with Crosby, and he could be an immensely valuable asset. And that's a team that will do it too. So I mean, they usually change things up pretty good. I mean, being able to drop that team, getting 4 games, and then drop a guy to get that final game. I'm down by 7 in hits, and I need to get some hits, or I'm down by a goal. I need to get a goal scored. You can go and find a new guy on Sunday. I mean, they're currently sitting at the top of, as I said, of the Mass Mutual East by 1 point over the Caps with 1 more game played. They're going to want to secure their spot too. So I foresee them to go out and play hard on these 4 games. And that's exactly what you want to see as a fantasy owner, whether they win or whether they lose. They're going to want to win, which is a big factor late in the season to me.
All right, let's move into tail and fade. I'm starting us off with Vegas. Listen, Vegas is a great team, and for their remaining schedule for the rest of the season, they've got the hardest schedule in the league. That's because they're playing Colorado, and Colorado has the 2nd hardest schedule in the league remaining.
Because they're playing Vegas.
Yeah. So this is going to be...
see how this works.
This is going to be an absolute shootout for first in the West, and it's going to be very entertaining. And for fantasy owners, it's going to be great. If you have either of those teams, you just sit back and just watch the points come in. This is going to be great. I'm surprised that none of you guys took the Avs, because I was going to take the Vegas and the Avalanche.
The Avs have been having so many postponed games. I've been nervous to pick either them or Vegas. Yeah. Like I can't. I mean, that the West right now has had more postponed games later in the season than any other division. I love the pick, but I have a hard time suggesting to people to take a team that can lose 3 games.
And I'm giving these stats out, assuming that some of these games are going to be played. Obviously, check to make sure the games are postponed. Don't be like, oh, well, they said the Golden Knights, so I'm going to put them
Bobby, I got this guy, and there's 4 postponed games this week.
Anything could happen.
We record a good bit before it comes out, unfortunately. So just do your due diligence. All right, definitely listen to us every week and blindly follow us, but do a little bit of work yourself, guys. Come on. Come on. We can.
You could be the 4th guy on the pod.
You could.
Davey, what are you tailing this week, bud?
Edmonton Oilers, and I'm not necessarily sold on this team, but I think that they've got a decent week against
fantasy-wise, I am.
Yeah, I mean, fantasy-wise, you're getting points. I mean, they've got 4 games against the Vancouver Canucks this week, who, are fresh off their COVID spurt. And, I don't know. I think Canucks are going to play good hockey, too. I think it actually might be good games, but they've won 6 of their last 10 as of this recording. Season series is 3-2 Edmonton. Couple streaming options for Oilers is Jesse Puljujarvi and Kyler Yamamoto, who I grabbed last week, Yamamoto, and it paid off dividends for me. So I was pretty pumped about that. So that's
so
one.
You tailed my pick from. I got in before you and I almost picked the Oilers again, but I was like, you can't double.
You can't double
on
up.
The Oilers. Yeah. Love the pick, and like the Oilers are that team that I would not. If you told me the following week that they lost all 4 games to the Canucks, I wouldn't be surprised. Like that's the team that would do it late in the season. But you can always count on some fantasy value from them, and which is why I almost doubled up for the first time this season. Yeah. But I figured, no, I really like the team that I picked, but I love that pick. I mean, and the great part about the Oilers there are so many options. It's a lot like the Penguins to me, to where there's so much value across the board from them because you never know who's going to get to play with Draisaitl or McDavid.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about 2 of the best players in the league, and your guy could be playing.
Well, you do have some breaking news, and now, unfortunately, this is not fantasy hockey related, but we're still a sports podcast. The Pioneer League has announced that extra innings will be placed with a home run derby, and the MMLB is actually in talks of maybe doing that as well. That replacing extra innings with a home run contest.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
That's not even like that's that. Like that's not a baseball game.
That's right. That's just a skills event. That would be like if all right, we're going to overtime in basketball, dunk contest time, baby.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
just because hockey does it with a shootout doesn't mean that others like it's not the same.
Well, a shootout is like literally a part of the game.
Yeah,
like, you know, like
big part of the game. Yeah, well, right. It is now, but
a home run contest. Like, do you get a regular pitcher or do you get like just the BP pitch? Like, because like at least a shootout is
a real
like
question.
Well, like at least the shootout is a legitimate player trying to score on a legitimate.
Each team can
goalie.
use a designated pitcher. No, each team can use a designated pinch hitter and a designated pinch runner.
Stupid. What? I hate it. Don't even talk about it
Okay, so
anymore.
a pinch hitter,
mad.
so it's got to be a bench guy who's not already playing that game.
I'm so mad. Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
To avoid the excessive strain on our pitching staff, the Pioneer Baseball League will not have extra innings, but rather employ a first-of-its-kind knockout rule that resolves tied games with a head-to-head, sudden-death home run duel. Under the rule, each team designates a hitter who receives 5 pitches, with the game determined by the most home runs hit. Stupid. If it's still tied after the first knockout round, another hitter is selected for a sudden death home run. They're literally just doing a shootout. This is a shootout.
This is completely different than what the MLB is doing in extra innings where they're putting a guy on second, which at least is still baseball.
Yeah.
You know, like it's still
it
baseball. I mean, you can argue whether you like that or not.
The pinch hitter must have been a player not in the game who played the game.
I like that better, but I still. I
mean, you know, like that's not sports. That's just an event. Like the home run derby is an event.
So you're just gonna they're just gonna start hiring like home run hitters just for this?
The problem is the thing is
the
home run derby. The home run derby is like only fun because like they're just tossing BP to a guy to try to get him to hit. Like if you're just like having regular pitchers pitch to a batter, like that's just baseball, but you're only saying home runs count is all. Anyway, we should talk about hockey because
I saw it and I was like, oh, this stupid. Because we can't wait a whole week to get to that.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
You know, people should know the stupidity.
What I might do is I might cut that and put that into the main show, to be honest.
And they'll be like, where did Davey come from?
I'll go and edit. Davey's joining us for this new segment.
So as much as it hurts me to talk about my tale this week, going with the Dallas Stars, boys. 4 games.
Yeah.
And arguably of the 4-game schedules that most teams have this week, there's a few with 3, there's a couple with 2. Of the teams with 4-game schedules, it is literally the best schedule that you could have. Monday, playing the Panthers. Wednesday and Friday, playing the Lightning. Sunday, playing the Blackhawks. No back-to-back games. Playoff spot on the line.
They're going to lose them all.
Playing. Hey, I hope so. I really hope so. But like the way they've been playing,
fantasy-wise, they're losing 4. Great.
I mean, it's what you. I mean, as a team playing for only playing for the playoffs, but like right there on the cusp of like playing for a playoff spot against one of their rivals right now. I mean, they're not to the point of must win, but depending on how the Preds play, we're as damn close as you can be to must win. As true.
Do you think the past, I guess, year and a half has really skyrocketed the rivalry between the Stars and the Preds?
It has.
Now that they're both competitive, you know, the Winter Classic,
second decade of the 2000s have really amped this up, and I love it. I mean,
I do too. Big fan.
Because like, you know, like when it was the Blues for a while for the Preds, it was the Blackhawks for the while for the Preds. I really hate those
but
two
I respect
teams.
The Stars.
I don't hate the Stars. Right, exactly.
Yeah. I love those jerseys they wore last night, man.
Dude, they did look good.
They're so dope.
They did look real good. And
my wife was like, well, they just look like firefighters. I'm like, that's okay.
Dude,
it looks dope.
They almost dropped that. They almost dropped that game last night.
I stopped watching the game to watch.
You needed them to drop it bad for games of the week.
Man, I was angry.
But I really have enjoyed the battle, the rivalry that has grown between the Stars and the Preds. I mean, they've looked a lot better lately, to say the very least that you can say about how they've been playing lately.
Sure needed it.
Pavelski is looking Still hot.
Jamie Benn almost made our 3 stars of the week.
Back.
He's been playing center now. He never played. He was not a centerman. So
he
that's
ended
been
up
helping.
Sammy Reinhart ended up beating him out for I think our 3rd star of the week or something.
Really?
Yeah, because
Okay.
Sammy Reinhart just had so many points this week. Yeah.
Gonna look for some options this week from him if you can get that opportunity. I mean, no back-to-back games, 4 games, all spaced out. Teams that they need to play and beat. There's going to be some goals scored, at very least goals scored in those Lightnings and Blackhawks matchups. I mean, Panthers games, it's always up in the air. It could be 1-0. It could be 7-2 or 7-6. You know, like that's the wildness about the Panthers. But I am hot on the Stars this week. If you can find a guy, as much as I hate to say it, I'm here to give you as good of advice as I can give. And Stars are looking better than most teams in the league right now.
Is Jason Robertson going to win the Calder?
No. I think Kaprizov has locked that up mid-season. I think it was pretty much a lock. I think that he's come closer than nearly anybody else. Kaprizov has looked really, really good. He has not looked like a Calder potential candidate this year. Yeah, he's looked closer to a Hart candidate than he has a Calder candidate, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah. Well, Kaprizov's minus 230 right now, and Robertson's plus 150.
What is
not bad.
I know he's probably. What is Tolvanin even on the list? Because I know.
I'm curious. Let's look.
Because I know at one point he was before his injury. He was not close, but he was like. I think
he just has not had nearly enough games.
He was like plus 500 at one point, maybe plus 350 at one point. Did he? Because of his injury, did he drop off?
Yep, don't see him on here now. I mean, you've got
what's Juice's Vezina chances looking like? Like probably like
great.
Plus
I don't know.
6, plus 580, plus 550.
I would have to say it's plus 700. I mean,
yeah, he's not. He needs to be in the conversation at least. He needs a mention in there. But that's
Calder to me. There's so many factors that come into play. Whereas Vezina, it's pretty much 3 stats like wins. Shutouts, save percentage. And I just feel like he started so slow, and the injury time frame that he was out. I mean, it's going to be tough, in my opinion, to beat a guy like Vazzy this year, who is basically getting to play his normal season, but on a shortened season. You know,
he is plus 6,000 on the odds at FanDuel right now.
Whoa!
So he's way
Wasn't
up.
expecting that.
A little higher than my plus 700 that I said, but
honestly, like he's not gonna win. But
I'll bet you Vazzy's minus 550.
That was as of 5 days ago, but it's he's actually minus 170.
Really?
Yeah.
Who is his competitor there?
Marc-Andre Fleury plus 200.
Really? He hasn't played enough games.
Grubauer plus 4. I could see Grubauer sneaking in there.
Vazzy's just been there all
and then
year
there's
consistently.
Then there's everyone's Hellebuck, who we didn't want, who shouldn't have won it whenever was that last year? Yeah, I didn't. I disagree with that.
Vazzy should have won it last year for sure.
Yeah.
All right. What are you fading on this week, bud?
Oh, yes. I am fading the Chicago Blackhawks. They've y'all love that one. I love that you love that pick. They lost 6 of their last 11. I'd rule them out. I'd say as of now they're unlikely able to battle for that 4th spot with tying into yours. Dallas and Nashville competing for that 4th spot in Central. They've got great young talent, though. A lot of good things to look forward to in this Chicago Blackhawks teams. I mean, they've got Kubalik, Pius Suter, Brandon Hagel, Alex DeBrincat, Kevin Lankinen, all guys that are all 25 years or younger. And that makes up their top 2 lines, essentially.
But here's the thing also is I think they have, there was a stat I saw that they didn't have a single contract that went past the next 2 years. They don't have any, like all their contracts end the next 2 years. Man, they got to do something. That means that all these young guys who are going to start performing
except for Jonathan Tage, right? Isn't he like locked up until
I think he's got a lifetime contract.
He's like
in blood.
He's like locked up until like we become an AI society type
of
deal.
It just says he signed up until hell freezes over.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But no, I mean, so that means that all these players who are like gonna, they got a bunch of young guys who are gonna start doing well. They're all gonna be looking for a payday in about 2 years. Yeah.
So I did get skipped. My fade.
Didn't you? I thought you did Detroit. I thought you went straight into Detroit, didn't you?
I've never talked about Detroit. I talked about Dallas, and it's all good, Bob. No worries, no worries. My team, I don't really have a lot to say about it. I mean, Red Wings, 2 games against the Blue Jackets. Really no benefit to them winning either of those games. They're Friday and Saturday games. So, I mean, you may be able to find a little bit of streaming value if you can catch them at the right time, but then you got to find a player worth streaming from the. Yeah, I mean, if you would have to imagine though that he's not widely available.
Yeah, that's
unfortunately. True. I mean, you maybe Glendening, you're going to get some multi-positional eligibility, but the only value you can really find is if your Saturday's not stacked up, which is highly unlikely that your Saturday's not already stacked. I mean, I feel like you could find better value for your ads earlier in the week, get more games. You have Detroit players early in the week. These are the guys that I was talking about earlier. I'm willing to let go of them, no matter how well they've been performing. I mean, without Dylan Larkin in the lineup, even a lot more of these guys lose value. Vrana, yes, that's a guy that I'm probably not dropping early week for those 2 opportunities. But it's also one of those guys that look, I'm not holding him if I need, I need some categories to get extra games, because I don't feel like the value that he's going to provide you in those 2 late games are going to benefit you if you can go and get a guy that's going to give you 4 games throughout the week. Red Wings, I mean, they're just, they stepped it up for a little bit, and then
You're not going to go get Svechnikov? He's the wrong Svechnikov. Come on.
I've already put 100 on him to win the Hart. So
okay.
So I'm gonna double benefit. I'm gonna drop him. I'm gonna go get somebody else, and I'm gonna win the $700 million that I got from the odds of the $100 for him to win the Hart. So when I'm not here next week, it's because Svechnikov won the Hart. So the Detroit Svechnikov.
Right. I'm gonna round us out with the Flames. They've got 2 games this week, and they're struggling a bit. Listen, there's not much analytics that go in this. You're in the championships. You want games played. Flames aren't giving you that. So I'm not going to get too in depth about it. The fact is, you need games to win, and the Flames aren't giving it to you.
That's breaking news right there.
Yeah.
That was my fade last week, I think.
If you don't know, now you know.
And I think my tail was Dallas last week. You guys just taking my thought.
My tail was the Oilers last week.
I know. It's been really so back and forth. It's just different teams.
It's when it's this year is just so weird because teams are playing the same teams and schedules are getting. Yeah, I feel like we gave some pretty good advice for championship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, everyone. We will see you next week.
Peace.
This has been the Fantasy Goons podcast, brought to you by Standing Stone Farms. Listen to the boys every week and join in on the conversation on the 3 majors of social media.